I do pressure points. That's my specialty, but I do a wide range of things. I was fortunate to train with Professor Wally J. How many of you guys have ever heard of Professor Wally J? If you were just in Sensei Malada's class. Professor Remy Precis, which was modern arnis, stick fighting, anybody ever train with him? No, Bueller? And George Dillman, okay? But what they all taught me is to look at the commonalities of the things that we do instead of going, well, any of you older people remember, my style is better than your style. Remember that argument? Actually, if you're on Facebook lately, that's still the argument. My style is better than your style. No, we all do the same things. There's only so many ways that we can move the human body and disassemble the human body, okay? So I'm going to teach you a drill that comes from Wing Chun Kung Fu that's called Gock Nick Sing. And I'm going to integrate pressure points and things into it as I teach it. You guys probably do this, and it's called Kotikate? Yes, okay? Which was traditionally taught to you guys as an arm conditioning drill, yes? I'm going to show you this. In Wing Chun, this is an arm conditioning drill, but I'm going to teach you it's anything but that, okay? All right, and you guys will pick it up really easy, so I'll start you off. We'll just go through the drill, and then I'll start adding things in. Okay, he's done this before. So we're going to start with what I call the karate cha-cha, all right? So all we're going to do is go arm to arm and switch our feet arm to arm. You're just going to do this, okay? Don't go pounding on each other's arms, okay? It gets really old, really fast, because ideally, what I'm aiming for is halfway between his wrist and his elbow, right here, okay? You can easily find it by looking at the musculature on someone's arm. Keep your arm this way, okay? It's on the thumb side, halfway down, okay? Does it matter if I tape a 25-cent piece there and I put my forearm against it? Aren't I gonna overlap it quite a bit, so there's not a real good chance that I'm gonna miss? I like to, in all my techniques, put in something called a margin of error. I always go on the assumption that I'm gonna mess it up, okay? I'm really good at messing things up, okay? So we wanna aim for that. What I'm doing, not necessarily causing pain or dysfunction, I'm starting to enter into his nervous system because this is the radial nerve, understand? Okay, so I'm starting to stimulate his nervous system. In a book called Guyton's Book of Medical Physiology, it talks about when you put a stimulus like pain into a nerve, it travels up and down the nerve pathway for up to 20 minutes. That means that nerve is active for 20 minutes, okay? Think of you're just gone into someone's house and you started to flip a circuit breaker in the breaker box. You're starting to shut off the power and the lights, understand? You're overwhelming the nervous system. So we're gonna start here and we're gonna go boom, and then the other side. Don't get ahead of me, sure, okay? Now you guys do a very good habit of turning your arm. What you wanna do is work on the timing of that. You want to turn that arm as it hits. Because what I wanna do is I wanna get that nerve and I wanna pull on it. Okay? Contrary to what people say, nerves don't stretch. Nerves glide back and forth. If I can stop it from gliding back and forth, it can't relieve the pain and the tension that's on that nerve, and it's going to cause the pain level to increase. Everybody understand that? Okay? So let's start there. There's only 4 moves to this, so we're going to go kind of quick through them. And you'll get you moving, and then I'll show you the next. There's 32 levels to this. We'll never get through all those. All right? So everybody grab a partner, start whacking arms. A common thing that people do, we call this the washing machine. They stand like this and they just do this, okay? That's good for conditioning, but it's not good for training yourself, okay? So when I do this, I want to step, okay? I took a really large target and turned it into a slightly smaller target. I'll never be a smaller target, okay? But what I'm doing is that in case that's a strike coming at me, okay? I don't want to try to stop a strike and go like this. I'm going to get hit no matter what. I need to get my large carcass out of the way, okay? So when you do this, you want to step. But also, if you notice, it doesn't make me feel like I'm reaching, okay? And you switch sides. Every time you switch sides, put your hand up, because later on I'm going to use this hand, okay?
Live hand.
Yes, your live hand, exactly, okay? Now, we're going to add the next move on, okay? So we're going to go 1, 2. Understand? 1, 2. What I want is when I do the 2, I want to sink my body slightly. He should feel tension on his arm. I'm spring loading his arm. If I move my hand, you see his hand comes towards me, that means every time I want to grab it, I'm going to get it every single time because he's literally handing it to me. Thank you. Okay? I have rules at my dojo, or used to. I don't have a dojo anymore. Rule number 1, never block with your face. Rule number 2, never block the ground with your face. Rule number 3, never hit yourself in the face. It's all going in the same direction, right? But rule number 5 is never make more work for yourself. Okay? So if I can get him to just give me his hand, well, that's a great thing. Okay? So make sure that you do this. You hit, sink that weight. Just sink your weight. You'll feel it. Okay? All right? So 1, 2. Wax on, wax off. Now we're going to add the next move on. Where's my stunt double? All right. Okay. So we go 1, 2, 3. Okay? 1, 2. Now when I do the 2, I'm hoping, so we talked about this point right here. By the way, I'm going to use acupuncture terms. The reason why I'm going to use acupuncture terms, you can go on the internet and Google acupuncture and see the charts. And you're going to see, it's a map. The map has already been done for us, so why reinvent the wheel, you know? So lung 6 is right here. Large intestine 7 is right here on the opposite side. It's the same nerve that I'm hitting on, okay? I'm just hitting on the outside of it, so I'm trying to get that nerve. He won't necessarily feel it dramatically, but I'm starting to also weaken his hand. So if any of you have ever done any kind of boxing or anything, if you punch something and your hand is not fully closed around something, you break your hand, okay? I may block with my face, but I'm going to break your hand with my face, okay? I'm still winning, okay? So that's what I'm aiming for when I do this shot. When I do this shot and come down, ideally, I'm hoping to get right here, okay? Now this point right here has a weird name. It's MUE28. If you ever see that in an acupuncture chart, it means miscellaneous upper extremity. So they found the original 361 points, and then they thought it wasn't complicated enough, so let's add in another like 700, and we'll call them miscellaneous points. And now they even have more they call NUE, NHN, all that, which means new, upper extremity, head, neck, all that stuff. It gets complicated. But what it means is that there almost isn't a place on the body that you can't hit or touch where you're not on a pressure point, okay? Now, pressure points aren't all nerves. They're nerves, they're connective tissues, muscle spindles, and what's called Golgi tendon organs, okay? So you're using the anatomy of the human body against itself. These guys are geniuses how they figured all this stuff out, okay? So now, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, okay? You guys do that? Last move, okay? The last move is different than all the other ones by a lot, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your hand up like this, like you're wiping sweat off your forehead, and then flicking it at the person, okay? So we go 1, 2, 3, we come around and hit, okay? This is really important to do this motion here, okay? You don't want to kind of cheat on it because it's mapping something out, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. And if you had done Mike and May's class, there's a technique in Filipino arts called an umbrella, which is exactly that same motion. But haven't you ever wondered why you have movements in katas where your hand is upside down like this? It's like, I never do anything like that. Well, yeah, you do. If you put your hand like this to pick something up, it's the same as this. So you're picking something up. And if you look, movements where your hand is like this is usually followed with your hand turning over. Okay, and I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, circle chop. 1, 2, 3, judo chop if you watch Austin Powers. All right, everybody give it a try.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe to LiveDanD.